morning. Yay. Can you believe this is the last session? Gosh, this went by very fast. I don't know. But I'm excited that we're talking about supplementation this week. This always has to come after the food discussion. So many people think that it's perfectly acceptable to supplement your way to health, and that's not possible if your foundation is not there, and that foundation is a good healthy diet, good healthy food choices. So this is appropriate to bring the supplementation discussion in now, after we know what all the ins and outs are of the trans fats and the things we kind of want to remove and the things we want to add. Now is time to discuss supplementation. And we're also going to talk about, at the end, I'm going to let Carla talk about the supplements that were more appropriate for menopausal and hormonal kind of changes. And so she's going to talk about that at the end, because somebody asked about that in session 1, and we're going to focus a little bit of time on that towards the end. Okay, so in this session you're going to learn about supplements, choosing vitamins and supplements essential to your health. Don't worry, we're not going to say you have to take every single one of these, because that is sort of what that looks like. There's just different varieties of the same supplement, different price points that we want to point out. Because one thing I do want to say about the supplements that we offer at Heinen's, there's many different, I shouldn't say many, there are a couple different price points of the same type of supplement. So if you're wanting to go, save a little bit of money on certain supplements, you absolutely can do that, and Carla can share with you, the better supplement to take if you're looking at, a little bit of cost containment. So this is just several varieties of the same type of supplement. Also, just give you a little mini tour of our wellness department. A lot of people don't know we have a wellness department in Heinen's, but we do. Every single Heinen's store has a wellness department and a wellness consultant, so we'll just kind of share with you real briefly what we offer there and what makes us different. So homework, that for some reason converted back to the old, that's bizarre. The homework was to aim for 10 superfood servings in a day, and I want to ask, how many of you, has anybody gotten up to 10 superfood servings in a day? Of course, right? Okay, 2. Anybody else? Close to? Okay. Is that an improvement from where you started? Yeah? How do you feel? Better, worse, same? Maybe a little more gassy? Possibly. I know that can sometimes happen. So again, this is an evolution here, so even if you're only at 3 or 4, pay attention to that and find, again, how you can add one more. I mean, so easy. What Carla's going to share with you today, this is like my favorite. This is the recipe my husband almost left me for to go live with Carla. Of course, I'm kidding. The very first thing she made and gave me leftovers, my husband was like, oh my God, it's amazing. And you have the recipe in your book, but even doing simple things like Carla will share, throwing a little basil on some pasta would be a superfood serving. So they really do add up quickly. Keep striving for more of those. The more and more you eat, the more and more you'll crave. So the first rule of supplementation is this. You always want to think food first. Always. Always, always, always. If you're eating junk food all day and processed food all day and you take a multivitamin, you're probably not going to feel any different. Or you add a probiotic and you're just eating Twinkies and Ho-Hos all day, you're probably not going to feel any different. So you got to start with the food. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you got to start with that foundation. We do need to supplement, and I got to share with you, at first I did not buy into this at all. I came from a foods background, right? A registered dietitian by trade. And when I learned about this, I'm like, no, thank you. I've got it covered through my diet. And then I said, okay, I'm going to lighten up a little bit. Maybe I don't know everything. And I did start taking a couple of the essential 5s, which we're going to talk about today, and noticed significant differences in my own health. So I'm a believer of this because I've seen it firsthand with my own health and also with my husband's health. And so there's no better marker than to have that experience. Here's why we need to supplement, okay? We have nutrient depleted soils. And what that means is the soil that our fruits and vegetables are grown in today, not the same as our grandparents or our great-grandparents. Even people who are in their 80s or 90s will say, this apple does not taste the same as the apples when I was growing up. And that there is something to that. Our soils aren't the same. They're depleted. You're still going to get nutrition out of that, but not like you used to. Environmental toxins that we cannot get rid of. We don't live in bubbles, so we are exposed to these things, right? We have moved away from ancestral diets. This standard American diet has become more convenient and more of our everyday life. And that means less nutrients. We're not running around naked like, you know, many years ago, no clothes, you got all the vitamin D you wanted. Now we're stuck inside most of the day. So there's many reasons why. And also we have these modern lifestyles full of stress. And stress depletes a lot of nutrition in the body. We're not going to get rid of stress. It's part of life. But this kind of helps bring you back to a baseline when you're choosing the right supplements. And of course, as I mentioned, the standard American diet, we call that the SAD diet, and it sort of is. You know, we can make it a little better, but standard American diet. So here's what we've got here. We've got 5 essentials that we recommend. When I say we, it's not just Melanie and Carla suggest this and the wellness consultants suggest this. We actually employ a chief medical officer for Heinen's to be in charge of our wellness departments and source our supplements. And his name is Dr. Todd Pesic. He is a holistic physician, so much different than what you would get if you went into your just regular practitioner, right? And not to say that they're wrong, but it's just a lot different. They don't focus on, these integrative medicine, functional medicine doctors don't focus on masking a symptom. They get to the core of really why is it that you're having these issues. And so these are the 5 that he suggests to take. And the first one is a probiotic. Second is a raw whole foods based multivitamin with B12 added, bioavailable iodine, vitamin D3, and algae-based DHA. So we're going to just talk about each one of these very briefly. The first one, which is my absolute favorite, is the probiotic. And this is such an exciting topic for me because we are just starting to scratch the surface of what our microbiome is all about. And basically what the microbiome is, you may have heard this before, maybe not, collection of more than 100 trillion, that's trillion, organisms living within your intestines. Also, you know, in your nose, in your mouth, on your skin, right? So it's not just in our intestine, but more than 100 trillion microorganisms. This is amazing to me. 99% of your genetic material, what makes you you, is bacterial DNA. Not the DNA that you got from your parents. So you're sitting there, I'm standing here, 99% bacteria. Does everybody just have a urge to break out their, you know, Purell and just like, right, exactly. We're too Purell focused. We want to get rid of all the germs, and that's not the answer. Germs are good. There's certain germs that are essential, especially when they're the good bacteria that literally make us up. And the key here is that we're all made up of bacteria, good bacteria, bad bacteria. But the things that deplete the good bacteria in our bodies are things that maybe that we can't necessarily get away from. So, you know, pollution, a lack of sleep depletes the good bacteria, poor diet depletes the good bacteria and builds the bad bacteria. So we may be sitting here feeling just fine and don't realize that inside we're not being supported like we should be. We've got trillions of friends, but some of these might be more of our enemies, right? Antibiotic overuse kills the good. Even my cat, when I took my cat to the vet and she had an infection and they gave her an antibiotic, they said, you got to get this probiotic. Now, 2-3 years ago, I would have been like, you are nuts. I'm not giving what is this? You want me to give my cat? Now I know, and you really need to replenish that if you're on constant antibiotics, or question that. You know, why am I on constant antibiotics? Maybe you're on constant antibiotics because you don't have enough of the good bacteria. You know, it's kind of funny. So also, when you think about the magnitude of this, The bacteria living in your body outnumber the cells of your body by a factor of 10 to 1. Again, you are mostly bacteria. And it influences practically everything about you. Your emotional health, your sleep, your physical health. The one thing that I have said, and Carla, I know you can say this as well, when you are, if you were given the choice of one supplement that you could only take one, the probiotic would be it for me. It has made such a difference. I got to share with you the funniest thing ever. I had suffered from seasonal allergies my entire life. I could remember being in middle school sneezing in like April, May, June, you know, sneezing, sneezing, sneezing. And all the way up until I started taking a probiotic. And I still don't know why. All I know is that I no longer get seasonal allergies. I mean, I might sneeze once or twice, but nothing like I was getting. So that tells me something was off in my body, and I obviously didn't have enough of the good bacteria. You can get it from food, good bacteria from food, and I'll share those sources with you. Second thing that happened, I travel a lot now for Heinen's. My ears used to pop and stay plugged, right, for like a day. And all of a sudden, my ears aren't plugged anymore since I've been taking a probiotic, which is just so bizarre. But again, it's just changes have happened, and good changes. So when you have a good, healthy microbiome, it's obvious that you're going to digest your food better, right? It promotes healthy brain function. Strengthens your immune system. So if you're always getting sick, you need that good bacteria in your body. Helps maintain healthy blood sugar. So if you're pre-diabetic and you're in that range where your blood sugars always stay a little high, this can help you. It's natural. Many people get worried and they say, well, okay, Melanie, I'm going to take a probiotic, which we've got, one of the ones that I brought here was the doctor formulated probiotic. Comes in men's and women's. It's once daily. It says 50 billion probiotics, 50 billion colony-forming units, which means there's a lot of bacteria in here, and they're like, if I'm in the bathroom all day after I take this, I'm just going to come and hunt you down. And so I finally had to ask the rep, and I said, you know, I'm telling these people to take this. I do okay with it, but are they going to be like on the toilet the rest of the day? And they said, think of this, and I'm sorry that you're eating while I'm telling you this, but it is what it is. When you have a bowel movement, you lose billions of bacteria. And so you have to replenish that, right? And so taking 50 billion is like nothing. If you're losing it, hopefully you have a bowel movement every day. If not, that could be a series in itself. I could talk 4 weeks about that. But yeah, so you're not giving your body anything that it doesn't already have. So don't worry about that. Also helps you to actually use the nutrients that you are taking in through your food. If you have digestive diseases or know of people who have digestive diseases, these seem rampant anymore. Irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, diarrhea, reflux, probiotics can help. And actually, lastly, helps you get a good night's sleep. So really influences everything about you. So the probiotic, what that really means is good bacteria. So when you hear probiotic, it just means for life, Carla? For life? Mm-hmm. Or pro-bacteria means friendly bacteria, kind of for life. They are suggested to be taken on an empty stomach before going to bed, or empty stomach. I take all my supplements in the morning, so my stomach's always empty in the morning, and I usually don't eat for a couple of hours, so I roll out of bed, take my supplements, and then I eat maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours later. So for me, that works. But if for you have an empty stomach when you go to bed, take it before you go to bed. It's also suggested not to take with iodine, which we'll talk about in a moment here, because iodine is an antibacterial. So if you take the antibacterial with the bacteria, you're just going to kind of not defeat the purpose, right? So if you take your iodine in the morning, then you take the probiotic at night. Just take them separately. Some of the solutions that we had, I already shared with you the one. Another one that we have, Dr. Todd Pesek has his own line of supplements that we carry at Heinen's, and his supplement of probiotics is just probiotic supplement. It's kind of unique in that it's, you know, silver and white, but his whole line is that. So these are once a day, these are once a day. Some of them you may actually end up taking twice a day depending on the dosage. The one that Carla will mention, this is the one I actually take and I love it. It's in the refrigerated section. It is, it's called Mood and it's doctor formulated. And when I say Mood, this is like, this is healthy Prozac. I'm not even kidding you. And let me tell you, this is TMI right now, I know this, but prior to taking this, I got this from a rep who, the Garden of Life rep, was doing a nice little in-service to teach us about this line of probiotics. And everybody got a supplement to try. And when I went up, this was the only one left. And you know, this was the one everyone took. And I said, you know what, I guess I'll just take this one. I want to try a probiotic. So I started taking it. Didn't really think anything of it. And then, ladies, you'll understand this, that time of the month when you like want to just claw someone's eyes out because your emotions are just rampant, and I all of a sudden did not have that edge. And so I'm like, whoa, not like I was whistling, you know, skipping down the street happy, but it just took that little edge off. So now my husband makes sure that I'm always stocked with my Mood probiotic because this works. And it works because there's a natural herb in it called ashwagandha, and it just helps to kind of calm your butt down when you're ready to just explode. So this is wonderful. So we have the Garden of Life line, which that's the Garden of Life line. Get Real Nutrition is Jordan Rubin's line, which do I have? I didn't bring that one with me, but it's Get Real Nutrition is Jordan Rubin's line, and we have a whole array of probiotics there. You only have to take one of these, right? So there's many options. What my suggestion would be, talk to Carla, talk to the wellness consultant at your local Heinen's, ask them what would be best for you, because oftentimes you might require the Mood probiotic, you know, or, you know, there's different ones that target different functions. So, and then we have the Nutritional Roots probiotic, Dr. Todd's. Food sources of probiotic, fermented vegetables. Get these in your diet if you don't already. There's a whole line in our deli department. It's sauerkraut, fermented cabbage, which is sauerkraut, right? Fermented cabbage, fermented beets, fermented carrots. There's a specific way the fermentation happens that produces this very good bacteria, and you have to keep them cold because as soon as you heat them, so like, you know, not Thanksgiving, but Easter dinner, you know, you always get that nice sauerkraut on the side, at least in my family, but it's cooked, so you're killing the good bacteria. You want to make sure that they stay cold. How you would use something like this, toss it on a salad, you know, put it on top of your sandwich, have just a spoonful. You don't need a whole lot of this to get the good bacteria, and it's delicious. It's really a good alternative to a supplement if you just don't want to take a supplement. Kombucha is another one. Carla has a drink that she's drinking today, but that is basically fermented tea, and you're drinking one of the lines that are up the GTS line that we have of kombucha. It's a fermented tea to make it probiotic rich, so it's actually healthy bacterial rich tea that you can drink. A lot of people drink those on a daily basis. I
looked for it yesterday. Where I couldn't find it.
Oh, the cayenne?
Right in the cooler. They're in the cooler. Yeah, they're in the cooler.
They're refrigerated. Yeah.
What section?
Just that, you know, the milk is on the one side, they're on the opposite side of the milk.
Yeah, and it's a distinct taste because because it's fermented, it has somewhat of a vinegar taste. I haven't grown to love it yet, so I'm still working on that, but that's another option. Yeah? Did you have a question, Lisa?
Just for someone who might have a question who's not here today, are these typically in a Giant Eagle, a CVS?
Well, I'm not sure about CVS, but they should be in most of your grocery stores. Honestly, fermented vegetables should be. There should be a line. These people don't sell exclusively to us, so it might not be that brand, but all they would have to do is ask somebody. Yeah, this is not by any means exclusive to Heinen's. Whole Foods sells them. I mean, they're everywhere, so you can find them. Everywhere. And then the last one is plant-based protein powders. This is a nice option because they add it to it. So for example, a scoop of this gives you 1 billion colony-forming units in addition to other you know, vitamins, minerals, and plant-based properties. So if you do smoothies in the morning and you want to add a scoop of protein powder, this would be an option as well. And again, these are sold everywhere.
Would you do that in place of whey or with whey?
In place of, yeah. So if you're doing a whey-based protein powder or soy-based or any of those, this would be to replace that because it's giving you protein, it's giving you fiber, it's giving you everything that is giving you plus more, yeah, plus a lot more. Okay, so second essential is the raw whole foods-based multivitamin with B12. This is specifically raw and specifically food-based because when you're getting a food-based multivitamin, it's giving you all of the properties and benefits of the whole food, meaning your vitamins, your minerals, antioxidants, enzymes that naturally occur in that plant. So if you've ever taken a Women's One a Day or a Centrum multivitamin, I used to try that and I would get a stomach ache. I mean, literally, I couldn't take it, so I'd end up throwing it out. Well, there's many concentrated vitamins and minerals in there that you may not need and not enough of the other. It doesn't come from food. So if it comes from food, you don't get sick. I have yet to hear anybody that had a stomach ache or had any issues with this type of whole foods-based multivitamin. So the Garden of Life, the vitamin code, we have it in women and men. This would fit that vitamin B12 addition, and whole foods-based and raw. Also, Dr. Todd has a whole foods-based multivitamin as well, but that would fit the bill for that. B12, why we suggest getting a supplement with B12 in it, it's essential for our brain health, our immune system, proper sleep, energy. As we get older, we're not able to absorb as much B12 from our food, so that's another reason why Dr. Todd suggests getting it in your supplement as well. So you get B12 from animal-based products, right? So meats and seafood and dairy products, but people who are vegan especially need to make sure they're getting this from supplement because you're not getting it from your food if you avoid all animal products. So if you're a vegan, you definitely want to make sure. So the solutions I already said, Garden of Life Vitamin Code, Nutritional Roots Multivitamin. This is the one I take and I love it. No stomach ache at all. It's the women's one vitamin code. Because I'm cheap, I do only take 2 of the 4 recommended capsules, and I always buy it on sale. So, you know, if I only buy this when there's a little green dangling tag that says, you know, and that's just because you take these, you have to watch how you're spending. So that's what I would recommend. And there's plenty of other ones as well. Like if you shop at a Whole Foods or you shop at a Giant Eagle, they should have somebody there that could answer those questions for you. What is Whole Foods based, you know? Third, this one surprised me a little bit. This is bioavailable iodine. Now, 3 milligrams a day is the recommended dose. And I used to think, okay, so if I'm eating salt, right, good old Morton's salt, there's iodine in that, right? So why do I need a supplement? Well, first of all, that salt, you'll always hear Carla. You should be the spokesperson for Himalayan salt. When you get that Morton's salt with the added iodine, there's also additives to that, and it's not really a healthy salt. The more natural, the better. So like if you're getting a sea salt, a pure natural, like the pink Himalayan sea salt, there's no iodine in this. And so the reason why they started putting iodine in salt was because of iodine deficiency. So how do you bridge that gap if you don't want that kind of processed salt? You take a supplement. You can get it in food, but supplementation is very beneficial. It regulates your key metabolic functions like blood cell production, muscle function, body heat, hormones. So this one is, again, it surprised me.
Regulates body heat up or down.
The way you want it to. So like it kind of regulates the hormones so that you're, right, Carla, down, right? I mean, if you're having those issues, yeah. I always hear this, especially immune system. When I'm ill, Carla's like a broken record. Did you take your iodine? Did you take your iodine? I'm like, oh, okay, Mom. Yes. And I always tell her yes, even if I didn't. So, but it really is essential. Also, the processed foods that we're eating and the salts that's in the processed foods is not iodized. So you're missing it out on it there. It's found in, if you eat this stuff, great. If you're eating seaweed on a daily basis, some people do, I don't. So it's found in seaweed, it's found in seafood, but many people just don't eat seafood. And it's also found in your fruits and vegetables. But again, nutrient depleted soils means that it's not going to be as rich as it should be. So that's the vote for iodine supplementation. There are different varieties that we offer of the iodine. We have the nutritional roots iodine and also a trace mineral iodine. So that's another opportunity. There's liquid trace mineral iodine drops there. So if you wanted to take a drop instead of taking a supplement, you could always do that. And we didn't have that one here. So it's the blue bottle. So the fourth essential, how many here are on a vitamin D supplement? Yeah, usually that's the one where most people are like, okay, I'm already there. And for those of you who aren't, or maybe those of you who are might not understand why you're on it, I certainly never took a vitamin D because, again, coming from a food background, I'm like, nope, I'm good, I get it from my food. The problem is you get it from your food, but you're also indoors because we live in Cleveland, right? So if I lived in San Diego, I probably would have perfectly fine vitamin D, but when I got my vitamin D tested, they say anywhere between 40 to 60 nanograms per ml is considered normal. Mine was at a 20. And so, okay, I needed a supplement, okay? So I started taking a vitamin D supplement. The dose recommendation, once your daily, your optimized level, your levels are optimized to 40 to 60, Dr. Todd recommends 5,000 IU a day. However, if you have not had your vitamin D levels tested, get it tested first. Sometimes doctors will give you mega doses to get you, because 5,000, if you're at a 20, probably won't bring you up to where you need to be. So you really need to work with your doctor on the proper dosage for you. But his recommendation is 5,000 IU a day once your levels are optimized. For me, in the summer, I'm outside, I run, and I run a lot in the summer. I don't really take it in the summer, maybe once or twice a week, but you better believe with this grayness, I take it every day. And the last I got mine checked was about, I think it was about at a 55 was my new level. So I know what I'm doing works for me, but you definitely want to work with your doctor with that. Now here's why vitamin D is so important. Research suggests that when your levels are optimized, there's potential risk reductions of roughly greater than 70% for cancers across the board for vitamin D, right? Having your vitamin D levels optimized. 80% for breast cancer, 60% for type 1 diabetes, 50% for multiple sclerosis, and 30% for heart attacks. So this is important, and this is probably why you guys are on the supplements if your doctor had suggested it. That's why. It's a pretty important one. So some of the solutions that we have at Heinen's, and I'm sure you can get these at any grocery store. Garden of Life Vitamin Code, this is the 5,000 IU dosage right there. It's actually food-based, so it's very gentle in the system. We also have the nutritional roots and Heinen's brand. I take the Heinen's brand. I get it on sale, 5,000 IU, and I love it. It's just an easy supplement to take. And then the last one is DHA. If you remember back in, I think it was week 1 and week 2, I talked about omega-3s, right? Omega-3 fatty acids being very important, anti-inflammatory. You want to make sure you're eating, the chia seeds and all those things to help decrease inflammation. Well, DHA is a form of omega-3. And that is actually, our brain cells are made up of DHA, right? That is the powerhouse of the omega-3 is the DHA. You can't necessarily get that in your chia seeds or your flax seeds. Although they're healthy, your body doesn't convert that to the essential DHA omega-3. So that's where supplementation is important. For me, I do not take a DHA supplement because I eat fish, and I eat fish at least 4 times a week. Salmon, fatty fish. For me, that's not necessary, but for people who don't eat it or who are vegan, they need to supplement with a algae-based DHA. So the dose recommendation is 150 milligrams daily. We talked about reducing inflammation. That's why it's important. Turns on the growth of new brain cells, especially important as we age, right? and also protects your existing brain cells. Super important. So the solutions that are vegan-based, we have several. We've got, a Garden of Life brand, which is omega-3 in the green container. We've got Jordan Rubin's line, and we've got Dr. Todd's line as solutions. If you do eat fish, and you eat it a couple times a week, especially the fatty fish, so salmon, albacore tuna, probably want to do that only once a week. Mackerel, herring, sardines, those really oily, fatty fish, you're going to find a lot of the omega-3s there. You may not need it. Or if you wanted to take a really high quality fish oil supplement versus the vegan-based, we have the Whole Mega, right? Whole Mega, I don't have it here, but it's in the, it's by a new chapter, and it's called Whole Mega. It's very pure fish oil. So that would be a really good one to take if you're looking for a fish oil-based supplement. So some tips to help you. Again, think food first. So if you eat, the more local that you eat, you've always heard this, the closer that that food is grown to home, the more nutrients it's going to contain. I know I shared this week 1. If you shop at our stores through the early fall, peak summer through early fall, you're getting mostly local. 2/3 of our produce is from local farms. So local as much as possible. Plant a garden. Right, duh, that's as local as you can get, right? Unless you live on Deer Run like I do, and literally there's a reason it's called Deer Run. You cannot keep plants or anything. So choose frozen fruits and vegetables. There's nothing wrong with those as long as they're not swimming in butter or cheese sauces, right? They flash freeze them at peak ripeness, so the nutrients are there for you. There's totally off-season, frozen is fine. And also, don't boil the living daylights out of your produce or when you cook them, because you kill off a lot of that nutrition, right? So you want to keep them crisp if you can. Steaming, blanching, stir frying, keep the texture. So the more crisp those vegetables are when you're cooking them, the more nutrients that they're going to retain. So the most powerful thing you can do, if you're already taking vitamin D, and there's one other thing that you think that would benefit you of the Essential 5, look into that, right? If you're not on a probiotic, my suggestion would be start with that probiotic, or at least start eating more of those probiotic-rich foods.
So what about the kefir?
Yeah. So if you do dairy, a lot of people don't anymore. They've got issues with it, but kefir is another fermented beverage. It's a fermented milk, so it's cultured milk beverage. Pretty inexpensive when you think about how much you really need to get the good amount of bacteria. It's sold by where all the milks are sold. The Wallaby organic plain kefir is a nice one. How I would use that if I had it would be to just add a little bit to my smoothie and blend it up, because it is kind of sour. Some people don't like to drink it, some people will, but the plain to add it to a smoothie is a nice way to get extra good bacteria in. So it's kefir, K-E-F-I-R. Thank you.
I haven't looked in Heinz. Do you have the frozen version of that?
Of the kefir?
Uh-huh.
I don't think so, do we?
So you really guys, you gotta get that. Okay.
Got to talk to our frozen people.
Strawberry one in particular, I can't think of the brand that's like most popular with kefir.
Yeah.
But there is some brand, but they make a frozen.
Maybe light,
and it's like
Lifeway.
yogurt, but it has that, like, I don't know, sour kind of.
Okay, with a little
But I
sweetened
happen
fruit.
to like it.
Oh, okay. So frozen.
Yeah.
Okay.
They make a frozen one, and I don't recall having ever seen it.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you're right.
Delicious.
Jane, where did you say you get it?
Well, I have bought it at Giant Eagle.
Okay.
And then they seem to have stopped carrying it. And I've looked at Heinz, but I've never seen it there.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, but,
You need to put Jane on our board there at
I know.
Heinz. Say, why don't you have this? You need to do all the shopping and say, you need this. You need. Could we find a? We need to find a position for you, because sometimes we say it, and it doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, no, thank you though. That's an interesting. So, and that's a good point. Look around. Just because I didn't mention it doesn't mean there's not other opportunities out there for for probiotics and things like that. So absolutely look around. So what I would suggest to you, again, I beat this to death I think by now, keep increasing those superfoods, or if you're at a point where you're like, I feel comfortable where I'm at now, stay where you're at. If adding more scares you or would be too much, just stay where you're at, but keep the consistency, because over time it's the consistency that's really going to help make a difference in your health, in your life, in your blood markers, right? Those biometric screenings. The food is what's going to help you. This is secondary, right? The food is really what's going to be your best friend there. And so I already talked about this, our little virtual tour of our wellness department. Already talked to you about Dr. Todd being our chief medical officer. It's kind of unheard of, so it's kind of, we feel comfortable suggesting certain supplements because they've been sourced by Dr. Todd Pesic. Also, there's different price points with our supplements, so if you look at one and you're like, it's way too expensive for my budget, talk to that wellness consultant and say, hey, I'm only willing to spend this much. Show me a line that is a little less expensive yet still effective, and they will absolutely point you in the right direction. We have a dairy cooler in our wellness departments. A lot of people just zoom right by it because they just think, oh, it's just juice. But our dairy coolers are where we have raw juices, probiotic-rich beverages like the kombuchas, and also supplements. So some of these are found in this dairy cooler, like the Mood probiotic. This is found in the refrigerated section in that little cooler. And most of these are found near the wellness department. And lastly, or second to last, the plant-based protein powders are also found here. Bone broth protein powder, that is something I could probably do a whole session on. A newt, it sounds disgusting, but it's amazing. It's actually collagen. So I know you all want to just run out and buy a container of bone broth now that I told you it was collagen, right? It's basically, bone broth is our grandparents, my mom still makes it to this day, boil the bones and get all, for 24 to 48 hours, and the result of that is whatever leaches out in, I think they add an acid like a vinegar to it to make bone broth, leaches out into the broth. So it's basically broth that has just been simmered for 24 to 48 hours, and the result is amazing. Good for the immune system, good for the gut if you have any kind of digestive issues. We have powders that make it very convenient. I've since switched from my plant-based to a bone broth-based protein powder, and it really is, it does make you feel good, but convenient. So yeah. And also greens powders. And then if you have anybody either you're shopping for or you yourself have issues digesting wheat or gluten sensitivity, or you just want to, find some different snacks, the superfood snacks, that's all found in the wellness department. So hit Carla up the next time you're there and she can show you some of the new stuff we have, or she'll give you a sample. You're always really good at opening a bag and saying, taste it. Okay, so Carla is going to make, I'm so excited for you guys, basil and sun-dried tomato bean pasta. Okay. Remember we were talking about that bean pasta? So Carla said, I think we ought to make that. So she's going to share with you, oops, sorry, I messed up your display, how to make a very easy bean pasta that tastes so yum.
Great, great. So right before I start the pasta, I'm going to touch on for about a minute or two a question that was brought up in our first session. And that question surrounded how to handle menopause through supplementation, how to help with menopause with supplements. First off, real quick, most of us already understand that menopause is a very normal biological and chronological time of life. It is a time of life when our estrogen levels rapidly decrease. So, like Melanie alluded to earlier, a clean style of eating is first and foremost. And if you are proactive with your eating style, then menopause can be a little bit more easily embraced instead of feared, okay? If your eating habits are not clean, you may feel going through menopause like you've become possessed, and you may feel like you're watching a very scary movie. It does not have to be that way. Take it from me. I've been there and done that. I was extremely proactive, sailed through. And at my last store, I used to work at Mayfield Village, the Mayfield Village Heinens. The average age of my customer was about 50 years old, and she was a female. I have helped hundreds hundreds of women feel better about embracing menopause and getting through menopause. I'm not going to tell you without a hitch, but at least without horror stories. I brought along a couple supplements that I know are extremely effective, and I'd like to go through them quickly in no particular order of importance, but these supplements can help relieve many of the symptoms associated with menopause. First off, I brought along black cohosh, and black cohosh is actually an herb, and it is an herb that dramatically reduces the incidence of hot flashes. Right? I have that one. Probiotics. We talk excessively about probiotics and their importance. Healthy bacteria in the gut actually help to produce key hormones associated with feeling good, suppressing appetite, and during menopause there tends to be an increase for sugar cravings and junk food cravings. If our gut flora is balanced, these cravings are actually suppressed, and feel-good hormones actually increase. This is the probiotic that Melanie takes. It has ashwagandha in it, and ashwagandha is what we call an adaptogenic herb. It does for your body what your body needs it to do, and when a person is facing menopause, lower hormone levels, the person tends to be a little bit more tired, sluggish, kind of loss of vitality feeling, not as energetic. This dramatically helps.
You may have to double up on your order now that we both promoted the heck out of that.
No, can't say enough.
It's on, well, is it on sale till the end of the day?
It's on
today?
sale through today. Can't say enough about, first off, the importance of probiotics in your lifestyle. Secondly, when facing menopause or hormone changes, the great effects of ashwagandha that's included in this.
Men too, right? That's not just for women.
There is such a
I got
phase.
a crabby husband from time to time.
We
and that,
refer to it as menopause.
Yes.
Listen, it's nothing to hide or to keep secret. It's normal. It's normal. We're getting older. We should embrace it. There's no reason that we can't keep living a life full of vitality. Eating clean, as we've talked about these past 4 weeks, is key. Supplementing when we reach this wonderful phase of life is key. But the supplements will only be effective if your eating clean is in place. Maca is another really, really amazing adaptogenic herb that has been shown to be extremely effective when estrogen levels are dropping in the body. This actually has been clinically proven and has been researched, and studies have shown that cortisol levels drop dramatically, and cortisol is that yucky hormone that we don't want in excess of, drop dramatically with the consistent use of maca. Yep.
What does that cost? Well, both of them. What is the price of that? And my second question is, what about yogurt? I heard activity is good for probiotics also.
It is. Yogurt is very good, along the same lines of kefir. Personally, I feel that we need more probiotics on a daily basis that we can get in one serving of yogurt. So I prefer to supplement, but that's a great starting point. It's better to eat a yogurt or drink a cup of kefir every day than to do nothing at all. I hope that answers your question. And as far as the price on the maca, it is on sale right now for about $19. I want to say the price is around 25-ish. Sound about right?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 cap a day, is it, or how many
The
capsules?
serving on the maca is 3 to 4 capsules a day. And there's 120 capsules in the bottle.
And I
It's
know
a
some
1-month
people
supply.
that take that, maybe they don't take it every day, but they might take it during times of their life, stressful times during their
Yeah.
life. So these aren't things that necessarily
It's
you
a
have
really
to take every day. Well, the
important
probiotic
point.
and everything, yeah, but the maca,
Very
yeah.
important point. The maca does not and should not be taken 365 days a year consistently for years at a time. It will greatly lose its effect. If you take it when you really need it, then you will really, really notice a difference. Hopefully that answered your questions.
Meaning during stressful times, what do you mean when you need it?
During stressful times, good question. Not only menopause or menopause, you've experienced some job-related issues causing you stress. There's a reason why you're not sleeping consistently. Something stressful in your life is causing you a lack of sleep. Things such as that nature. Illness. You know, you're ill or someone in the family is ill. That's creating stress. Times such as that. That's an excellent question, Lisa. B vitamins are extremely, extremely important for energy at all levels of the body, from brain to toe. Very good supplement to take. And I also brought along matcha tea. Matcha tea contains an amino acid called L-theanine. It gives us puts us in a more relaxed state, but not a sleepy state where you want to fall asleep. It puts us in a relaxed state with also an enormous focus. So it's a nice combo, and it is also loaded with chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is essential for balancing our pH, and when we are in a stressful time of life, whether it has to do with hormones decreasing rapidly or other reasons, our pH tends to be a lot more acidic. This is extremely alkalinizing. I also brought along some essential oils. We are so influenced by our sense of smell. Sometimes just the aroma of either diffusing or putting a couple drops of oil on your skin and kind of just inhaling them can make it a great difference. We have an extensive line of supplements at Heinen's, and I have one here called Peaceful Sleep. It includes lavender and chamomile, which are they promote a relaxed state. I brought along peppermint, which is invigorating. If you put a couple drops of peppermint on your hands, rub them together, and just a few deep breaths in the morning. I know people that put a couple drops of peppermint in their shower in the morning, along the sides of their shower, not right in the middle. It could get slippery. And between the hot shower and then the aroma of the peppermint is just so invigorating. I brought along rosemary oil. It's terrific for headaches. Rub a little rosemary on the nape of your neck or into your temples. Your headache will subside in minutes. It will get better. I'm not saying it's going to disappear, but it'll get better. So you can either diffuse oils. They're a wonderful, wonderful method for improving a state of mind and making you feel better. So without further delay, I will get going on our demo for the day. Get the skillet turned on here. We have a line, the Nutritional Roots line. It is Dr. Todd, our Chief Medical Officer's line. That's the only line that we sell that is food grade. You could put those in your smoothie. It's an excellent idea. And a drop is all you would need. They're extremely concentrated. A drop will go a long way. It's a wonderful question.
Are these supplements available in non-capsule form for people that don't want to constantly pop capsules?
In a non-capsule form,
Powders or
so,
drops or
yeah,
vitamins or,
we have a liquid line of supplements called Berry Treasure, and many of them will suit the bill for what I've talked about today. There are a couple formulations. One is specifically geared for women going through hormonal changes. One is suited for those that have difficulty sleeping. So great question.
Yeah, we have one called, I recently bought it because it was on sale. It's called Neuro Nectar.
Oh, yeah.
And it's good, like if you're trying to focus on something and you just, you just take a couple tablespoons of it and it works.
Yeah.
My husband took it and he's like, I don't know if it was that, but I got a really good idea. I'm like, well, okay, honey,
It's
it was
so
the Neuro
funny.
Nectar. And
It wasn't.
I just let him believe it,
Yeah,
right? He's
yeah.
like, he got a good idea.
You know, sometimes it's just, the
I'm
power
sure
of
it wasn't-
suggestion.
I'm sure it
You
wasn't
know?
the Neuro Nectar, but
Listen, little power of suggestion, that helps. It goes a long way.
yeah, they're good taste, and they don't taste like, cough syrup. They actually have a pleasant taste too, so you
Exactly.
might benefit from that. You might get a good idea too.
So what we have today is on page 27 of your workbook. It is my recipe for basil and sun-dried bean pasta. This has just been one of my favorite recipes to make for groups these past couple of years. Once you try it, it can sort of defer you from always craving and wanting to eat traditional pasta, because the foundation for this recipe is actually a bean pasta. It is organic edamame and mung bean pasta. A serving includes 22 grams of protein. It's a couple dollars for the box. We always have it on sale. I think they're 2 for $6 right now. It's a very inexpensive form of protein, very high in fiber. It's low glycemic. We've talked about that these past couple of weeks. So it's very gentle on your blood sugars. It's filling. Hopefully you think it tastes good. I'm starting out the recipe by sauteing up some onions, and this is the longest part of the recipe.
I gotta say too, because of the protein in there and the fiber, that could be your meatless meal. So it sounds like, well, gosh, $3 a box, but you don't necessarily have to put chicken or anything, because that's your protein. So if you're doing one meatless meal, that's pretty inexpensive if you're subbing
Right.
that out for the chicken. The way that Carla makes it, I almost think adding a meat to it would not be
Yeah.
a good idea, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, unless you add a little bit of, I could see maybe some rotisserie chicken or, something like that. You may want to do that. I just added some crushed garlic. Yeah, we're doing on time. It's very, very simple, couple ingredient recipe. Next, I'm going to add a real flavor enhancer. These are sun-dried tomatoes, and they're in a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to add just a little bit more, because these typically are everyone's favorite part of the dish. 1 jar is fine. I'm adding a little bit more for you guys. It's also adding a little bit more oil and helping the onions along. This is all there is to it. I have boiled up the pasta in advance for obvious reasons. Pasta takes about 7 to 9 minutes to boil up, and you boil it just as you would your traditional pasta. I think these onions are just about done. They're transparent. They may be a little bit al dente, but in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and add the pasta, which I cooked up. It's a beautiful light green color. Has the mouthfeel of traditional pasta.
So if you're gluten sensitive or cooking for gluten
Exactly.
free people, perfect.
It's a very
pasta
good
for them.
point. This is gluten-free. It is just bean. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little toss, and then I'll add some more. And the last thing that we do is just fold in some basil. I preach all the time, it's so important to eat herbs. They have so many wonderful qualities. Basil happens to be one of my favorite herbs. I've already chopped it, and I'm going to add a nice healthy amount. It's a beautiful, vibrant green color. There's a saying that we eat with our eyes first. And this is just such a pretty dish. Little bit of our favorite salt, pink Himalayan salt. Little twist of that. And a little bit of black pepper, and we're done. There we go. Okay, my heat is turned up rather high so that I get this warmed through for you guys. Add a little bit more. And we'll be able to start serving. Give you guys a try.
Sure. So like certain vegetables and fruits. So for me and Carla, her question was certain things organic, certain not. For me, I look at like the Dirty Dozen, which is in the
Right.
back of the book. You know, those making sure that you're organic. Dairy products, I tend to lean towards that. Eggs, milk, and meats. Cereals and things like that, I mean, not necessary in my opinion. Yes, automatically. Hormone-free, none of the ick, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely, there's just certain things you don't compromise on in meats and
Right.
dairy and those Dirty Dozen.
Right. Here we are.
Thank you.